White smoke billowed from the Sistine Chapel, signaling to the world that a new pope had been chosen. The crowd in St. Peter's Square erupted in celebration as Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle stepped onto the balcony, marking the beginning of his historic papacy. As the first Asian pope, he was seen as a symbol of change, diversity, and renewal for the Catholic Church. Many believed his leadership would usher in a new era of inclusivity and progress. However, within days of his election, Pope Tagle made a decision that would send shockwaves through the religious world. His first official decree challenged centuries of church doctrine. Addressing the topic of marriage and family, he introduced a policy recognizing same-sex unions. For generations, the Catholic Church had upheld the belief that marriage was solely between a man and a woman. Pope Tagle's decision to offer blessings to same-sex couples marked a dramatic departure from long-standing teachings. To some, it was a bold step toward a more inclusive and compassionate church. To others, it was a profound break from sacred traditions. The reaction was immediate and deeply divided. Supporters saw it as a landmark moment, arguing that the church needed to evolve with the times. They praised Pope Tagle's courage, believing that his decision would make the Catholic Church more welcoming to all. Many viewed it as an act of love and understanding, a move that would bring more people into the faith rather than pushing them away. However, opposition was fierce. Traditionalists within the Vatican and beyond voiced their outrage, accusing the Pope of straying from the core teachings of Christianity. Conservative cardinals warned that altering the Church's stance on marriage risked undermining its spiritual foundations. Some even speculated that this decision could lead to a major division within the Church, with the possibility of a schism forming among the faithful. The debate spread across the Catholic world. Bishops and priests wrestled with the implications of the decree, while theologians engaged in heated discussions about its theological consequences. Some churches embraced the new policy, while others refused to recognize it. Parishioners found themselves at odds, with some welcoming the change and others feeling betrayed. Even within the Vatican, officials publicly expressed conflicting views, leading to intense internal discussions about the future of the Church under Pope Tagle's leadership. Beyond the walls of the Vatican, the decree had global repercussions. Governments, religious leaders, and media outlets weighed in on the controversy. In countries with strong Catholic traditions, concerns were raised about how this shift might impact cultural and moral values. Meanwhile, advocates for LGBTQ+ rights celebrated the decision, viewing it as a long-overdue step toward equality. The move reignited broader conversations about whether the Church should evolve to reflect modern society or remain anchored in traditional doctrine. Pope Tagle remained unwavering in his stance. He clarified that his decree was not about discarding Church values but about extending love and acceptance to all. He emphasized that the essence of Christianity was compassion and unity, and that the Church should serve as a sanctuary for everyone, regardless of who they loved. Yet, despite his reassurances, the debate only intensified. The divide between supporters and opponents grew wider, leaving many questioning the future direction of the Catholic Church. Pressure on the Vatican continued to mount. Some cardinals called for an emergency council to discuss possible actions in response to the decree. Others urged patience, believing the Church needed time to reflect before making any major decisions. Meanwhile, the faithful were left to grapple with their beliefs. Some saw the change as necessary and overdue, while others feared it signaled a dangerous departure from tradition. Regardless of the controversy, Pope Tagle's decision had set a precedent. Whether accepted or contested, it had sparked an unavoidable conversation about the role of the Catholic Church in a rapidly changing world. Was it meant to remain steadfast in its traditions, or should it adapt to contemporary realities? Could it honor its core beliefs while embracing progress? These were the pressing questions now facing Catholics worldwide. As time passed, the debate showed no signs of slowing down. Protests and demonstrations erupted in various parts of the world. Some demanded that the decree be revoked, while others pushed for even broader reforms. Church discussions about inclusivity and acceptance grew more frequent. Clergy members found themselves navigating a complex landscape, uncertain of how to address the concerns of their congregations. The Vatican continued its internal deliberations, yet no clear resolution was in sight. Pope Tagle stood firm, delivering speeches centered on love, unity, and compassion. He urged the faithful to prioritize understanding over division and to embrace open dialogue rather than hostility. Yet, despite his calls for peace, tensions remained high. Some feared that his leadership would usher in further doctrinal changes, while others hoped that this was only the beginning of a more progressive and open Catholic Church. The controversy surrounding Pope Tagle's decree was unlike anything seen in modern church history. It had shaken the foundations of Catholicism, creating deep divisions and prompting reflection on the future of the faith. To some, he was a visionary leader ushering in a new era. To others, he was pushing the Church toward dangerous, uncharted territory. One thing was certain: the Catholic Church was at a crossroads, and the decisions made in the coming months would shape its path for generations to come. As the world watched closely, one question loomed large. Would Pope Tagle's vision unite the Church, or would it deepen the fractures already forming? The answer remained uncertain, but one undeniable truth had emerged. His leadership had already made history, leaving a lasting impact on the Catholic Church and its followers worldwide.